Honestly, that Sarah McLachlan song could actually mirrored this Harbaugh news, because it's almost like a sad, emaciated Harbaugh in a dog cage in the wilderness. Like, that's really what this is. But there's no reason for me to be nice about this, because if MSU did the same thing, they wouldn't be nice to me.
No.
I have never in my life seen this type of contract in college football. Let me give you a word to the wise, people. And I don't care who you are. And I've said it from the very beginning. If you have to cut someone's salary in half, do both parties a favor and fire them. No employee who is so bad at their job that you need to cut them in half in order for them to continue working for you is worth keeping. That is exactly what has happened here. And you know why? This is what I imagine how it went down between Kenny Cott and his girlfriend. You get a guy at the bar last call who's had way too much to drink. He's lonely. He couldn't find no options in the bar, but he's still at the bar. You get the bartender, and she's on an awful breakup, and she can't find nobody, and it's cold out. And she looks at him and goes, he's drunk, but he's good looking. I don't necessarily like you. You don't necessarily like me, but we're going to bump uglies a little bit. That's Ward Manuel and Jim Harbaugh. This is a contract between two sides that don't want each other. You brought Jim Harbaugh back and made him the 34th highest paid coach in America on base. Then you gave him incentives that he has little to no chance to meet, because the incentives will be tied to beating OSU, winning the Big Ten, making the college football playoff. And what you've created is an untenable, almost a stay of execution. If I'm a Michigan fan, I'm looking at this in utter disbelief. Hey, you remember the narrative that was sold to all of us? Well, Harbaugh's negotiating. They're negotiating. Wait, so if they agreed upon a 50% salary reduction down to $4 million, what did the negotiation start at? $1 and a kick in the nuts? Like, where did Ward begin with? Jim, I'm going to fire you. Harbaugh comes back with, how about 7? All right, I'll do 1. How about 6, 2, 5, 4? Like, no, this is
you know what? The NFL wants me. Okay, come back.
Yeah, go ahead and go look. Go ahead and go look. You'll be right back at the bar with me. The NFL didn't want this man, and Michigan doesn't necessarily want him, but they don't know what to do. They don't have a clear-cut guy who is better, right? So they stay with the devil they know. Harbaugh, who still thinks he's the prince who came home to rescue everybody in 15, he gets a reality check, because not even mama wants to pay you $8 million. I've never in my life seen a college football coach not get fired, but take a 50% reduction on base. I mean, that is a complete loss of confidence. But he didn't have nowhere to go. They didn't have no one to go get, and you're seeing it already. What high-level college assistants are going to want to get a seat on this boat? I mean, realistically, like Josh Gaddis is just happy to be paid. What OC you going to go get? I just would be surprised if it's a big-timer. D coordinator-wise, you got rid of Don Brown, and you're going to hire someone who is objectively not as good as Don Brown. That's the reality. And right here, Rico, the question I ask, because the things I'm saying to me are just factual. They are ways of the world. If you are at your current employer and they go, you can stay, but we're cutting you in half, then they're not worth keeping. They don't want you, and you don't want to be there. So Harbaugh didn't sign this thing until his assistants' contracts were about to expire in 72 hours, and he had to sign it. He did, in my world, he did everything in his power to try to find a way out of this. So now you got a coach who They're going to sell us he's all in for Michigan and reinvigorated. He's walking around with a boner all day. He's all in to win for Michigan. And Michigan's going to say, Jimmy's here for the long haul. See, I'm smart. I can do things. Here's a 5-year deal that really has no buyout. And a year from now, after you go 8-4, and Ohio State shoes you in your cornhole, we'll be right back here. It's truly, it is remarkable to me. And I wonder where Michigan fan is at with it. Is Rico right that you're upset? Have you given up? And really the question that I leave with Rico, the man of the hour, the host of the hugely successful 5-Star Zone podcast. Is this a sign that Michigan has accepted their fate in today's world, that they are simply not a big boy? They just want to win 9 games. They just are happy with who they are, because I don't know another way to spin it. I am starstruck by this. 248-539-9797. Rico, tell them all about it.
Mike, here's the thing. When you look at this, is Ward Manuel a genius, or is he just a guy who can't let go? Because in essence, if Harbaugh comes back, has the same type of year, they don't beat Ohio State, they struggle, and let's say they split with Michigan State and Penn State, and you get an 8-4, 9-3 team, he got it at a reduced price. You're not paying $8 million a year for that. You're only paying $4 million a year. But why pay the $4 million for mediocrity when you could possibly go out and get better? But I don't think that they can. They hitched their wagon 6 years ago. They said that this was going to be the guy to lead them out the wilderness, and it wasn't. They didn't have a plan B. Mike, I remember having this conversation many, many times with the late Drew Sharp, saying, where does Michigan go if this doesn't work? They didn't have another option. This was it. You're not getting Belichick from New England. This was going to work, and it didn't. No backup plan, and now you're stuck. You got his tattoo. You got his name and face tattooed on your ass, and now you got to live with that. Now you can't get that scrubbed off. You got to hope that it works. You got to pray that it works. So if we extend this, maybe he could pull this out. Maybe we could start winning. But you got to ask yourself, if you're a Michigan fan, I don't think that they're happy with it. Mike, every Michigan person that I talk to is not happy with this. They're not.